Katyn Massacre, Poland 1940. Soviet NKVD agents executed about 21,157 Polish military officers, policemen and intelligentsia in spring 1940 and .wikipedia.org. The mass graves were discovered by Germans in 1943, but Stalin's government blamed the Nazis and denied responsibility until 1990 in wikipedia.org. Katyn is historically significant, now officially deemed a crime against humanity, and emotionally devastating for Polish families, but it has no living survivors to dramatize. It is relatively well known to historians and involves more political intrigue than visceral battlefield horror. Its narrative strength lies in the cover-up and its later revelation, but that may be less immediately shocking to a general audience than graphic brutality. In sum, Katyn's scale is enormous in .wikipedia.org, but it may feel more like a political story than a personal horror story for viewers. Massacre, Massacre, Italy 1944. Nazi troops, the 16th SS Panzer Grenadier Division, killed up to 1,130 Italian civilians, including women, children and the elderly, in and around the villages of Montisole, near Bologna, over several days in September. October 1944. nwikipedia.org. nwikipedia.org. This was the largest massacre of civilians by the Waffen-SS in Western Europe. nwikipedia.org. The victims included entire families. Estimates range from 770 confirmed dead, by local memorial sources, up to 1,130 nwikipedia.org. nwikipedia.org. Crucially, it features powerful human stories. For example, Father Giovanni Fornasini, a local priest, repeatedly sheltered villagers and buried the dead during the massacre, only to be discovered and executed by the Germans. n.wikipedia.org. The combination of sheer scale, cruelty, villages burned and civilians shot en masse, and personal drama, heroism and martyrdom, gives Massacre very high emotional impact. It is relatively forgotten outside Italy, which means a video on it would feel fresh, and yet it clearly fits the channel's theme of battlefield horrors. Babi Yar Massacre, Ukraine 1941. Nazi Einsatzgruppen and police murdered at least 33,771 Jewish men, women and children on September 29-30, 1941, in a ravine outside Kiev. Encyclopedia. ushum.org. By war's end, roughly 100,000 Jews and other civilians had been killed at Babi Yar. Encyclopedia. ushum.org. It is one of the largest single-location massacres of WWII. Encyclopedia. ushum.org. The horror of Babi Yar is unquestionable, and it is a major Holocaust symbol, inspiring poems and symphonies. However, it is already well documented in history and media. For a modern YouTube audience, Babi Yar's scale is chilling, but it may lack the forgotten novelty. Its narrative potential lies in survivor testimony, such as Dina Pronicheva's account, and memorial art, yet many viewers familiar with WWII horrors may already know that story. Kalavrita Massacre, Greece, 1943. On December 13, 1943, German troops executed virtually the entire male population of Kalavrita, about 693 civilians. n.wikipedia.org, in reprisal for local resistance. The Wehrmacht gathered all townsmen and machine-gunned 438 of them in one field, boys, men, and old men, then burned the village. Only 13 males survived by hiding under corpses. n.wikipedia.org. This near extermination of an entire community and the burning of 1,000 homes is extraordinarily brutal. The shock comes from the wholesale slaying of fathers and brothers, leaving orphans and widows. The story has personal hooks, those 13 survivors, the impact on a small village. But its overall death toll is smaller than Marzabato's. Kalavrita is little known outside Greece, so it qualifies as forgotten, and its drama is intense, but it may be less familiar to audiences than an Italian or large-scale event. Other notable atrocities. Many other WWII massacres could be considered. For example, Sant'Anna di Stazzema, Italy 1944, saw about 560 villagers, 130 of them children, killed by the SS. nwikipedia.org. nwikipedia.org. Distomo, Greece 1944, had 218 killed, nearly 60 children, infants, with survivors recounting infants bayoneted in cribs n.wikipedia.org. The Palawan Massacre, Philippines 1944, involved 139 U.S. POWs burned alive by Japanese guards, National WWII Museum.org. These all have high shock factors, but each is either more niche, e.g., specific national memory, or smaller in scale. By contrast, infamous cases like Litis or Orador are too well known to be forgotten, and others like Katyn Baby Yar, though huge, are already widely publicized.